The game journalists are at it again. They can't just stick to their job, so they're trying to create drama. And of course, it's Nathan Grayson. As Roe v. Wade repeal looms, video game industry stays mostly silent. So this here is the fake news, very adversarial press. I would say at this point, the gaming media is a detriment to the gaming industry. They're actively trying to do more damage to the industry by forcing them to take a political stance. So in the wake of a leaked draft Supreme Court opinion essentially confirmed that the Roe v. Wade's days are numbered, most of the video game industry's biggest companies have remained conspicuously quiet, though not all. Yeah, you want to know why? After seeing the beatdown that Disney has received for their bullshit, PR firms are now advising companies to shut the fuck up. Now, too bad it's too late and you already let the cat out of the bag and we know how much you hate us, so we're not going to come back. But at least, you'll avoid driving even more people away. Yeah, because at this point, none of the people these companies chased away are coming back. But if they're able to adjust to their current audience, they could at least stay there. They could avoid losing any more. So I guess I'll give them credit there. So shortly after, Politico first reported the leaked Supreme Court draft on May 2nd. And notice that there was no FBI raid on the fake news journalist that leaked that. If it was Project Veritas, dude, they'd probably be arrested right now. Sony purchased Destiny 2 studio. Bungie published a statement in support of reproductive rights, calling Roe v. Wade's demise a blow to freedom in America and a direct attack on human rights, and prompting fans to donate to reproductive rights-focused organizations. And that just shows that Sony is still full soy. In the following days, indie developers and a handful of other studios like Psychonauts 2 creator Double Fine and Guild Wars developer ArenaNet published brief statements on their own. ArenaNet, what the fuck? I thought those guys were okay when they actually got rid of a known bad actor, but well, I guess they're going to keep circling the drain, huh? Yeah, so you got to be careful, by the way. When a developer, we're talking about the game industry. If a developer comes out against wokeness or in support of something that is against wokeness, don't immediately rush out to support them, because most of the time they immediately backtrack. Now, when they double down, that's when you support them. Look at Factorio. Those are developers that are worthy of support. A handful of workers also told the Compost they would participate in a week-long Mother's Day strike aimed at protesting the potential overturn of Roe v. Wade, with the permission from their companies to stop work this week. I'd be willing to let them take off work unpaid if they want. But the majority of gaming's heaviest hitters appear to have kept both their mouths and wallets closed. This silence is especially conspicuous following the industry's near unilateral support for causes like burn, loot, murder in the wake of George Kirby's overdose, and the anti-Asian hate as a result of a certain group that it became inconvenient to talk about. In both those cases, many big companies released statements, donated to charitable causes, updated internal policies, and added in-game features to allow players to express their support. Now, this just shows you how dumb these journalists are. This silence is conspicuous following all this other shit. Or maybe it's because of it. Maybe they lost a lot of money from their virtue signaling the last time around, and they realized it's a bad fucking idea. Did you even once stop to consider that maybe they realized they made a mistake? The Washington Compost contacted 20 major video game companies. By the way, they plan to make a statement regarding Roe's potential repeal or provide employees with monetary aid in places where abortions would no longer be available. Only Microsoft and Blizzard, basically the same company now, responded with statements. Microsoft will continue to do everything we can under the law to protect our employees' rights and support employees and their enrolled dependents in accessing critical health care, which already includes services like abortion and gender-affirming care, regardless of where they live in the U.S., reads the statement issued to the Compost. This support is being extended to include travel expense assistance for these and other medical services where access to care is limited in availability in an employee's home geographic region. So they pulled an Amazon. Yeah, so Microsoft is doing the same thing Amazon is. They're like, Oh, you want to get an abortion? Sure, we'll pay for you to go travel to a blue state and do it. We'd rather do that than pay you like 4 months of maternity leave. So other tech behemoths like Amazon, Tesla, Lyft, and Uber have also promised monetary aid and in some cases legal protection to employees in states that would no longer offer abortions. Since 1973, Roe v. Wade has protected the right of Americans to murder babies. Once it is overturned, the decision of how to handle abortion up to and including potential criminalization will move to the state level, which is where it always should have been. So already a number of red states like Louisiana, Mississippi, Florida, and Texas have indicated they will functionally ban abortion, while blue states like California and Vermont are moving to codify abortion as a constitutional right. Now, why are they against it, though? If I was a blue state governor, I'd be all for this because then that would increase tourism to my state. Yeah, but then again, it would be mostly a bunch of broke hoes showing up, so maybe it wouldn't be useful tourism. So in ABC News, a Washington Compost poll found that only 28% of those surveyed supported the decision to overturn Roe v. Wade. Who did you survey? I think the real numbers are a lot more skewed to the other way than you think they are. So the independent studio Certain Affinity, which has worked on major games like Halo Infinite, is based in Texas, a state that has already significantly restricted access to abortion. Still, Max Hoberman, the company's CEO, said Roe v. Wade news took him by surprise. We will absolutely take a strong stance on this, and we will consider how to best support our staff who may be affected, but we haven't had the chance to get out in front of the messaging strategy just yet. It caught us a bit off guard, Hoberman told the Compost. We're still an independent company with limited resources. Man, I wish I had a studio right now, because I'd be going all in on the other side just to make these fuckers advertise me for free. Like, why do I need an advertising budget when I can just trigger these fake news journalists? The response to Bungie's post might offer a clue as to why some companies remain mum on the matter. Gamers have a tendency to bristle at issues pertaining to whammons, both in-game and out, and this is why no one likes these game journalists. As evidenced by regular online blowups against prominent whammon in the industry pioneered by current year -8 Gamergate movement. So, prominent whammons start attacking gamers. Gamers resist. The gamers are evil. Okay. And a series of recent scandals surrounding sexism and corporate culture within companies Activision Blizzard and Ubi shit, as well as live streaming platforms like Twitch. Bungie's own history is not bereft of such controversy, with IGN, ignorant, publishing a report last year which current and former employees alleged a boys club culture. That culture, says employees who've spoken to the Compost, has since improved, but truly pervasive fixes take time. So basically, Bungie used to be a fun place to work, and now it's being, they're going real company, and soon they're going to wonder why all of their best talent is leaving. On Twitter, thousands of people replied to Bungie's statement about reproductive rights, with some angrily chastising the studio for being too political. As a result, companies tend to carefully consider responses to cases like these, and they respond at all. And that's why you're here, aren't you? Because you're like, oh, if you're afraid of the other side actually giving you criticism, then we're going to criticize you for not saying anything. So Bungie, for its part, stood firm. We've chosen our side, and it wasn't difficult. Bungie replied to one angry twat, our company values exist beyond our games. It's pretty disturbing knowing what those values are. So inside the company, the reaction has been mostly positive. Super awesome that we're leading the way in the industry space with a strong stance, said one current Bungie employee who, like others who spoke with the Compost, did so on condition of anonymity because they were not authorized to discuss the subject publicly. It's weird to me that more people aren't coming out and standing up for basic human rights. Yeah, this is a common tactic by the regressives. They spin everything as we're on the side of basic human rights, and if you're against us, then you're not. As they literally strip your rights away, one regulation at a time. But that's fine. That's fine. And of course, most people in the company would be supportive. Try being that one Bungie employee that actually is pro-life and see what happens to you. Like, you see, like, all the executives virtue signaling, you see the official company stance is pro-abortion. Try being anti-abortion and see what happens to you. Of fucking course, within the company, there's going to be a lot of support. So Bungie has an internal diversity committee. That's why they suck. That one current employee characterized as instrumental in the creation of external and internal statements on Roe v. Wade's impending repeal. The employee described significant interest within the studio around the idea of monetary support for employees in places like Texas, especially now that Bungie has adopted a digital-first remote work structure, and that Bungie is looking into it. How about if you live in a red state and this makes you butthurt, fucking leave. They don't want you there anyway. Get the fuck out. Why are you, if your blue states are such utopias, why the fuck are you all leaving and moving to red states? Now, you don't see this the other way around. So an email to employees from Bungie an email to employees from Bungie to employees. This is the Washington Compost, leading name in journalism. Specifically stated that the longer term we are investigating ways to help affected employees preserve their right to essential health care in both in Washington state and those working remotely. It remains to be seen, however, if leadership will manifest that interest into a tangible initiative. So Pete Parsons, CEO of Bungie, and other executives are usually quick to speak out against things, which is nice. But any systemic company changes take really, really long time to come out, and we don't hear about them until they're actually close to happening. Said a third current Bungie employee. They usually give us corporate speak of this is really important to us, and we're looking into it kind of stuff, which is always frustrating to hear. How long until Bungie ends up like Netflix, where they end up getting so screwed they have to say, if you don't like it, fucking leave? Activision Blizzard, a prominent game developer facing multiple lawsuits and investigations over its corporate culture, and Bobby Kotick, provided a brief statement on abortion rights late Tuesday evening. We are committed to an inclusive environment that is supportive of all of our employees, unless you're conservative, white, male. As a company, providing fair and equitable healthcare is their top priority, and we will closely monitor developments in the coming weeks and months. You're going to be gone and replaced with Microsoft soon. On a May 5th message to employees viewed by the Compost, Blizzard President Mike Ybarra wrote, I realize we are late and I am sorry. It has been incredibly stressful for Blizzard and me personally as we read the news. He said that he has met with leadership to discuss how the company would address the situation on May 4th. I realize this isn't very helpful, but I'm being honest with where we are and what we are discussing across the company. So Blizzard is still full-blown soy. Good to know. Don't waste your time or money on that company. So right now within Activision, there are many employees distracted and scared for the future. Oh, what's it feel like living through the same shit the rest of us have had to go through living under your boots all this time, huh? Said Emily Neef, a senior motion graphic designer at Blizzard who is trans. Mr. Kotick has made a commitment to improve the working conditions of the many lives that work under him and make Activision the best company it can be. And I can say without hesitation that as of right now, he's failing all of us. So they're not getting enough special treatment. So Robert Anderberg, CEO, co-founder of indie game studio Control Z, said, our position on abortion rights in the U.S. is that we support a woman's right to choose to have an abortion for any reason. Well, do you support a man's right to not be forced to financially support a kid he didn't want? Really? Of course not. If he didn't want a kid, he should have kept his pants up. All right. Yet that logic doesn't apply to women, does it? Yeah, you can't say, if she didn't want the kid, she would have kept her pants up. And then you wonder why a lot of guys just don't give a shit. So Anderberg said the company currently operates in 5 countries, including the U.S. However, of these countries, the U.S. is the only one where abortion is restricted and about to become more so. His company is allowing employees to participate in the Mother's Day strike. Well, they must not care about money. So the Mother's Day strike runs from May 8th to May 15th, and asks participants to stop working, shopping, and eating out as a way to protest the possibility that Roe v. Wade could be overturned. And we're still scrambling for organization right now, said Javiera Cordado, an indie developer who's participating in the Mother's Day strike and compiling resources for best organizing practices. As a trans person, I wonder what this person's dead name was. Can't tell. Can't figure that out from this directly related to me, because this is about the stripping of bodily autonomy from individuals. This is where trans issues are directly related to feminazi issues like abortion rights. Where were you talking about bodily autonomy of individuals when you were supporting forcing everyone to get the jab? That's what I'd like to know. That you guys can't talk shit about my body, my choice anymore. I don't know how long I can continue to live in this country and actually feel like they care about us. Feel free to leave, said an indie game developer in Chicago who spoke at anonymity out of fear of online harassment after what happened to Bungie. She's participating in the Mother's Day strike with permission from her studio, which was supportive. The studio declined to provide a statement. Not every game developer in support of abortion rights has been able to take a week off work to strike. One Blizzard employee told The Compost that while she wanted to participate, she could not afford to. I understand the thought behind it, but I'm hard-pressed to think who can strike like that without having to be in dire terms of being able to live reasonably. Yeah, it's just a bunch of rich kids. They're virtue signaling. So right now, game workers just want some semblance of sanity or stability, and Roe v. Wade's potential repeal is threatening to rock their foundation. So commitment to reproductive health care for their employees, in their eyes, would at least be something. While bodily autonomy may be a hot-button issue, companies like Activision Blizzard are disregarding the very real lives of the people it impacts, said Neef, the Blizzard graphic designer. Many women's, trans men, and non-binary folk within the company are forced to carry on their day-to-day meeting expectations of their role, while also being mindful of the fact that their ability to regulate their own bodies may soon become criminalized. Now, actually, let me look this up real quick. I wonder, does Blizzard mandate the jab? Okay, so up until April, they mandated the jab. They just recently dropped the mandate. So where the fuck were you bitching about someone's ability to regulate their own body being criminalized when this same employer mandated you get a jab, huh? Shut the fuck up. I don't want to hear you crybabies anymore. If you're gonna leave, just leave, okay? Oh man, I am so excited to tell you guys right now that finally, after about a year of build-up and shilling, we have launched Blade Devil on Indiegogo, and so far it is doing so well thanks to awesome people like you. If you haven't backed it yet, then please check the links in the description and check out Blade Devil on Indiegogo. You will not be disappointed. Looking forward to seeing you there.